10 years. We met again after 10 years, in the same cafe where we'd made 1,000 promises. She was holding a little boy's hand, a man with glasses, standing beside her. In that instant, the coffee cup in my hand nearly slipped from my grasp. Chloe. The Chloe I had spent a decade searching for was right here, right in front of me. Only, the person by her side wasn't me anymore. It was the Lighthouse Cafe, the place we practically lived in 10 years ago. I'd just gotten back from my overseas assignments and walked in on autopilot, hoping to catch a ghost of feeling from back then. I never expected to find the real thing. She was sitting by the window, dabbing at the corner of a little boy's mouth with a napkin. He couldn't have been more than 5 or 6, and he looked just like her, especially his eyes. Across from her sat the man in glasses. He looked ordinary, but the way he looked at her was anything but. It was soft, full of a quiet tenderness. I froze, rooted to the spot, unsure if I should go over if I even had the right. 10 years, and Chloe was still beautiful. Her hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and she wore a light blue knit sweater. She looked softer now, more serene than the girl I remembered. The laughter that used to live in her eyes had been replaced by a quiet maturity. "Daddy, can I have some cake?" the boy asked, his voice still milky and sweet. "Daddy?" My heart gave a painful thud against my ribs. The man in glasses smiled. "Of course. Daddy will get you some." He stood up and walked to the counter. Chloe gently stroked the boy's hair. "Leo, don't always bother your dad like that. But Daddy says he loves it when I bother him." "Mom?" The world went silent. The only sound was the little boy's voice. "Mommy, why aren't you eating anything? Are you not feeling well?" Chloe shook her head. "I'm okay, sweetie. Just thinking about some things from a long time ago." "What things?" "Just a long, long time ago, Mommy used to come here for coffee, too." I saw her eyes glisten. The man in glasses returned, a small slice of chocolate cake on a plate. Setting it down, he noticed her expression. "Chloe, what's wrong?" he asked, his voice laced with concern. "Nothing, David. It's just, this place has a nice feeling to it." David. So that was her husband's name. I stood there, the coffee in my hand long since gone cold. I wanted to walk over, but what would I say? I wanted to leave, but my feet felt bolted to the floor. Just then, Chloe looked up and our eyes met. First, she just stared. Then her eyes widened in disbelief, as if she'd seen a ghost. "Ethan," she breathed, her voice barely a whisper. I took a deep breath and walked toward their table. "Chloe, it's been a long time." Her husband, David, looked between us, his brow furrowed in confusion. The little boy stopped mid-bite, his fork hovering over the cake as he sized me up. "And you are?" David asked politely. A faint blush colored Chloe's cheeks. She glanced at David, then at me, hesitating for a fraction of a second too long. "This is Ethan, an old friend from school." An old friend. The word stung. "David Miller," he said, extending a hand. "Chloe's husband." I shook it. His grip was firm, his hand warm but calloused. The hand of a man who worked with his hands, or at least a keyboard. "Ethan Carter." The little boy looked up at me. "Mister, do you know my mommy?" I crouched down to his level. "I do. Your mom and I grew up together." "Wow. Then you must have tons of stories," he said, his eyes lighting up. Chloe quickly pulled him closer. "Leo, don't bother the nice man." "It's okay," I said, my gaze lingering on the boy. My mind churned with a painful thought. If we hadn't separated back then, our child would be about his age now. "Why don't you join us?" David offered, a genuinely kind invitation. I glanced at Chloe. She looked nervous but gave a slight, almost imperceptible nod. So I sat down, taking the chair diagonally across from her. "What do you do now, Ethan?" David asked. "I run some businesses overseas. Just got back to the States." "Wow, that must be tough." "It's all right." The air grew thick with unspoken history. Chloe kept her eyes fixed on the table, refusing to say a word. The little boy, however, was unfazed, peppering me with questions. "Mister, have you been to lots of countries?" "A few. Are they fun?" "They can be." "Mommy, when I grow up, I want to go to lots of places like him," Leo declared, turning to Chloe. She forced a smile. "Then you have to study hard, Leo, so you can go wherever you want." "Ethan, are you married yet?" David asked suddenly. The question hung in the air, sucking out what little oxygen was left. I shook my head. "Not yet. Been too busy with work." "Well, you should make time for it. Good women like Chloe are hard to find," David said. So naturally, it was clear he had no idea. I looked at Chloe. Her face was now a deep shade of crimson. "Yes," I said, my voice steady. Chloe was always one of a kind. "Daddy, Mommy, I have to go to the bathroom," Leo announced. "I'll take you," David said, starting to get up. "No, I can go by myself," Leo insisted, hopping off his chair and darting away. David hurried after him. And then there were two. We looked at each other for a few seconds before she finally broke the silence. Ethan, when did you get back? 3 days ago. Why? Why did you come here? A bitter smile touched my lips. Habit, I guess. Whenever I had something on my mind, I'd always think of this place. She nodded, saying nothing more. I couldn't help myself. Chloe, are you happy? She looked up, her eyes filled with an emotion I couldn't decipher. I am. David's a good man, and Leo is a great kid. How old is he? 5. 5. That meant she had met David not long after I left. Chloe, back then, don't. She cut me off. It's all in the past. But I could see her hand, resting on the table, trembling slightly. David and Leo returned. The boy ran up to me. Mister, are you leaving? I glanced at my watch. Yeah, I have to get going. Will you come back? I didn't know how to answer that. Leo, stop asking so many questions, Chloe said softly. I stood up. Well, it was great seeing you all. David stood as well. We should keep in touch. I nodded, then my eyes found Chloe's. Goodbye. She didn't reply, just watched me with that unreadable expression. I turned and walked out of the cafe. Out on the street, my mind was a chaotic storm of emotions. I had searched for her for 10 years, and all this time, she was right here in the city where it all began. But she had a family now, a husband who loved her, and a beautiful child. And I was still alone. Back in my hotel room, I couldn't settle down. The room was silent except for the low hum of the air conditioner. I sat on the edge of the bed, watching the river of headlights flow past on the street below, the scene from the cafe replaying in my mind. Chloe, her husband, their son. 10 years. And she was doing well. I picked up my phone, my thumb hovering over the Google search bar, wanting to look her up. But after a long moment, I put it down. Some things are better left unknown. Lying in bed, my thoughts drifted back to us. It was the summer after my college graduation. She was a rising junior. We'd grown up together, in the same class from elementary through high school. We went to different colleges, but we were inseparable. Back then, I was so sure we would be together forever. Marriage, kids, growing old. The whole script. I remember the first time I held her hand. It was sophomore year of high school. It was raining, and she'd forgotten her umbrella. I gave her mine and sprinted home through the downpour. The next day, she was waiting for me by the school gate. Ethan, did you catch a cold yesterday? She'd asked, her voice full of worry. Nah, I'm tougher than that. I grinned. From now on, she'd said, her cheeks turning pink, can we share an umbrella when it rains? It was the first time she had ever initiated anything. Of course, I said yes. After that, we were always under the same umbrella, rain or shine. Senior year, I told her how I felt. It was her birthday. I gave her a small music box that played a melody from an old movie we both loved. Chloe, I'm in love with you, I'd said, looking straight into her eyes. She didn't speak. She just nodded, and then tears started streaming down her face. Why are you crying? I'd asked, panicking. Because I'm happy, she'd said through a tearful smile. Ethan, I love you too. I have since middle school. In that moment, I was the luckiest man on earth. Then came college. I stayed local, and she went to a state school a few hours away. The distance was nothing. We talked on the phone constantly, and I drove down to see her every month. Our relationship was rock solid for 4 years. I thought once I graduated, we'd get married. But fate had other plans. Senior year, I was offered a full scholarship for a PhD program at MIT. It was an incredible opportunity, a fast track in my field. I was ecstatic. The first person I told was Chloe. Her reaction wasn't what I expected. Ethan, you're really leaving? She asked over the phone. It's a huge opportunity, Chloe. I might be on the East Coast for a few years. A few years. Maybe 3, maybe 5. It's hard to say. The line went silent for a long time. Chloe, are you there? I'm here. Her voice was thick, on the verge of breaking. Ethan, I support you. But I could hear the lie in it. Chloe, when I come back, we'll get married. Okay, she whispered. The 3 months it took to get everything sorted for the move were strained. Chloe grew distant. She was quieter, less affectionate. When I asked her what was wrong, she always said it was nothing. It wasn't until the night before I left that she finally told me the truth. We were at the Lighthouse Cafe. Ethan, I don't want you to go, she said, tears streaming down her face. Why? This is for our future. But I'm scared. Scared of what? I'm scared you'll meet someone better. I'm scared you'll forget about me. I'm scared we'll drift apart. I took her hands. Chloe, I can never forget you. You're the only one for me. But 5 years is so long. Then I'll finish in 3. 3 years is long too. I'll fly back to see you every break. She shook her head. Ethan, let's break up. The words hit me like a physical blow. What did you just say? I said, let's break up. Before you leave, while we still love each other. Let's end this with dignity. Are you insane? Why would we do that? Because I don't want to watch distance ruin us. I'd rather end it now than have us become strangers down the road. I tried to reason with her, but she was already standing up, ready to leave. Ethan, forget me. Go live your life. I got drunk that night. The next day, I boarded the plane to Boston with a blistering hangover. I kept telling myself she'd come to her senses, that she'd call or text in a few days. She never did. I sent dozens of emails, left countless voicemails. Nothing. I asked a friend to check on her, and he told me she'd moved out of her apartment, no forwarding address. 4 or 5 years, I was tempted to fly back and find her, but my program and then my first startup kept me chained down. And a small, nagging voice in my head kept saying maybe she was right. Maybe a clean break was for the best. Looking back, those were the hardest 5 years of my life. I was successful, my career was taking off, but I felt hollow. I dated a few women, but nothing ever lasted. I realized there was only one person living in my heart, and it was Chloe. Last year, I finally decided to move back. The reason was simple. I had to find her. I needed to know how she was. I needed to tell her that not a day went by that I didn't think of her. I just never imagined that when I finally saw her, she'd be someone else's wife, someone else's mother. Lying on the hotel bed, a hard truth settled over me. Some things, once you miss them, are gone forever. I picked up my phone. It was 11 p.m. I wondered what Chloe was doing. Maybe reading Leo a bedtime story. Maybe talking with David about their day. Maybe, just maybe, she was also thinking about her past. But none of it mattered anymore. What mattered was that she was happy, with a loving husband and a wonderful son. I should be happy for her. The next afternoon, I was at the bank when I saw her again. She was sitting alone in the waiting area, clutching a folder of documents, looking anxious. "Chloe," I said, walking over. She looked up, surprised, then a little embarrassed. "Ethan, what a coincidence." "It is," I said, sitting next to her. "You're on business?" "Yeah, trying to sort out a loan." She wouldn't meet my eyes. "Is everything okay? Any trouble?" She hesitated, then shook her head. "It's nothing major." But her worried expression told a different story. "Chloe, if there's anything I can do to help, you have to tell me." She looked at me, a complicated emotion swirling in her eyes. "Ethan, you really don't have to get involved in my life." "Why not?" "Because we're living in different worlds now." Her words stung. "No matter what, Chloe, we were once the closest people in the world. I can't stand by and watch you struggle." Just then, a bank officer approached. "Mrs. Miller, we've reviewed your loan application. I'm very sorry, but because your husband's income doesn't meet our debt-to-income ratio requirements for this amount, we're unable to approve your request." The color drained from Chloe's face. "But we really need this money. My son needs surgery, and the hospital keeps calling." "I understand your situation, ma'am, but the bank has its regulations. You could try another lender, or perhaps find a co-signer." The officer gave a sympathetic nod and walked away. Chloe just sat there, her eyes welling up with tears. "Chloe, what's going on?" "Leo's sick," I asked urgently. She wiped her eyes and nodded. "He has a minor heart condition. He needs an operation. The doctor said it's not life-threatening, but the procedure costs $250,000. $250,000? We don't have that much in savings, and David's salary isn't very high, so we were trying to get a loan." "But," her voice trailed off. Without a second thought, I pulled out my phone. "Chloe, give me your account and routing number." "Ethan, what are you doing?" "We're taking care of the surgery first. We can talk about the rest later." "No, I can't take your money," she said, waving her hands dismissively. "Why not?" Because we're not together anymore. I'm married. I can't just accept money from you. This isn't about us. This is about a little boy who needs medical care. This is life-saving money." Chloe shook her head. "Ethan, I know you mean well, but I really can't." "Then what's your plan?" I'll figure something else out." Her stubbornness was both infuriating and heartbreaking. "Chloe, can you please not be so proud right now? Your son's health is the only thing that matters." "I know, but no buts," I said, opening my banking app. "Give me the account number. Don't argue with me." She looked at me, and the tears she'd been holding back finally fell. "Ethan, Chloe, if it were me who was sick, would you help me?" She nodded without hesitation. "Then that's that. This isn't about our past. This is just one friend helping another." After a long pause, she finally recited her account number. "I wired over $300,000. "Ethan, I said $250. The extra $50 is for Leo's recovery. Kids need to be spoiled after surgery." Chloe stared at the deposit notification on her phone, tears streaming down her face. "I'll pay you back. I swear." "There's no rush." "Ethan, I don't know how to thank you." "You don't have to. Just make sure Leo gets better." We left the bank and walked out into the late afternoon sun. The setting sun painted the entire street in shades of gold. "Ethan, what kind of business are you in now?" Chloe asked. "Investments, mostly. A few other ventures." You must be making a lot of money. I do okay. My net worth had crossed into 9 figures, but I didn't tell her that. I didn't want the gap between us to feel any wider than it already did. Chloe, what does David do? He's a programmer at a small startup. The pay isn't great, but he's a wonderful person. He takes such good care of me and Leo. A soft, happy look came over her face when she talked about him. What did you two meet? She was silent for a moment. He saved me. Saved you. The year I graduated from college. I was going through some things. I almost did something stupid. He was the one who pulled me back from the edge of the river. My heart stopped. Did something stupid? Why? Chloe glanced at me, her voice barely a whisper. Because I felt like the most important person in the world had left me, and I didn't see the point in living anymore. I understood. It was because of me. Chloe, I'm so sorry. Don't be. It's all in the past. And if it hadn't happened, I never would have met David. Do you love him? The question escaped before I could stop it. She stopped walking and looked at me. Ethan, that's not a question you should be asking. I know, but I have to. David and I have been married for 6 years. We have a child. We're a family. That's enough. But you didn't answer my question. She turned and started walking again. Ethan, there are many kinds of love. What I feel for David is gratitude, dependency, trust, and yes, love. And what about me? Her steps faltered for a second, but she didn't turn around. You? You're the past. A memory. The beautiful part of my youth. The answer felt like a punch to the gut. Is that all? Ethan, we're not 18 anymore. We both have our own lives now. Let's not chase after fantasies. We reach a crosswalk. I should head home, Chloe said. I'll walk you. No, it's okay. I can manage. Then, when will I see you again? She looked at me, her gaze filled with something I couldn't quite decipher. Ethan, maybe we shouldn't see each other again. Why not? Because I'm afraid. Afraid of what? I'm afraid I won't be able to let you go. With that, she turned and walked away, disappearing into the evening crowd before I had a chance to respond. I stood there at the intersection, her words echoing in my head. Afraid I won't be able to let you go. Maybe she wasn't as over me as she pretended to be. 3 days later, I got a text from her. Ethan, Leo's surgery was a success. Thank you. I replied immediately. That's fantastic news. How is he doing? It took a while for her to respond. He's recovering well. The doctor says he can probably go home in a week. That's great. Let me know if you need anything at all. Okay. And that was it. After a minute, I typed another message. Can I come visit him at the hospital? Her reply was swift. You don't have to. David's here with me. The message was clear. She didn't want me getting any more involved. But I couldn't help it. The next day, I had my assistant make some discreet inquiries at the hospital. He reported back that Leo was indeed recovering, but Chloe looked exhausted, like she hadn't slept in days. I wanted to see her, but I was afraid she'd turn me away. I wrestled with the decision all day before finally heading to the hospital. I bought some recovery drinks and toys suitable for a child and went up to the pediatric wing. The nurse told me Leo was in room 318. I stood outside the door, peering through the small glass window. Leo was lying in bed, his face pale, but his eyes bright. Chloe was sitting beside him, reading from a storybook. David was on the couch, typing away on a laptop. They looked like a picture-perfect family. I stood there for a long time, but never went in. I left the gifts with a nurse, asking her to deliver them to room 318, and left. On the way back, my assistant called. Mr. Carter, I have the information you requested on Chloe Sullivan's family. Go on. Her husband, David Miller, is 32. He's a programmer for a small software company, annual salary around $80,000. They rent a 2-bedroom apartment in the south end of the city for $2,500 a month. No car. They use public transit. His parents live in a rural area and are in poor health. They send them $1,000 a month. What else? Chloe is a stay-at-home mom. She used to be a teacher at a tutoring center, but quit after Leo was born. Their financial situation is tight. The medical bills from this surgery have put them deep in debt. Listening to the report, a heavy feeling settled in my chest. Chloe had been so bright, a top student, full of life. If she had stayed with me, she wouldn't be living like this. But she chose David. She chose this ordinary life. Maybe this was what she wanted. A few days later, I ran into her at the grocery store. She was alone, pushing a cart with a few simple items inside. Cabbage, eggs, pasta, milk. Chloe, I said. She turned, a complicated look on her face when she saw me. Ethan, what are you doing here? I live nearby, just grabbing a few things. How's Leo? He's home, resting. That's good. I glanced at her cart. It was filled with the cheapest store-brand items. Chloe, are you still not working? Leo still needs me at home. I'm not thinking about work right now. If you need a job, I can make some calls. She shook her head. Thanks, but no. Why do you always refuse my help? Because I don't want to owe you too much. Owe me? We're friends, Chloe. She looked at me, her voice soft. Ethan, can we really still be friends? The question caught me off guard. Why couldn't we be? Because of our history. Because we know each other too well. Because, she hesitated, because when I see you, my heart still beats faster. Her words made my own heart hammer against my ribs. Chloe, but it's wrong. I'm married. I have a family, a child. I can't just follow my feelings like I'm 18 anymore. But, Ethan, I need you to understand. I looked at her, a swirl of emotions inside me. Understand. But I can't stand the thought of not even being friends. But being friends is too hard for us. Why? Because you're not married. Because I know you still have feelings for me. Because I still have feelings for you too. She didn't finish the sentence, but she didn't have to. The supermarket was bustling with people, but in that moment, the world fell silent. Chloe, what do you want to do? I think it's better if we don't see each other anymore. That's not fair. What's not fair? You can't just cut me out of your life completely because we have a past. Ethan, this isn't about rights. It's about responsibility. I have a responsibility to my family, to David, to Leo. And what about me? Don't you have any responsibility to me? She looked at me, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. To you, all I can say is I'm sorry. Chloe, Ethan, if you really care about me, then let me live my life in peace. Please, don't show up again. Okay. She pushed her car past me and walked away. I stood there in the aisle, watching her go, feeling a profound emptiness. She was right. Maybe we shouldn't see each other again. But could I really do it? A month later, I saw David in the coffee shop in my office building. He was sitting in a corner, working on his laptop. I hesitated, then walked over. David. He looked up, surprised. Ethan, what are you doing here? My office is upstairs. Just came down for some coffee. You, meeting a client. Just waiting for them now. Mind if I sit for a minute? Of course. I sat across from him and took a good look at the man. He was unassuming, with a gentle way of speaking. A genuinely good person. How's Leo doing? I asked. He's doing great. Back in preschool and running around like nothing ever happened. We really can't thank you enough. I don't know what we would have done without your help. Don't mention it. It was the right thing to do. You must be incredibly busy, being so successful. It has its moments. How about you? How's work? A weary look crossed David's face. To be honest, not great. The company's not doing well. There are rumors of layoffs. What are your plans? What can I do? Start looking, I guess. It's a tough market out there. He took a sip of his coffee. You know, I've always felt like I've let Chloe down. She could have had a much better life, but she ended up with me, struggling to make ends meet. Has she ever complained? Never. Chloe's an amazing woman. She never complains, always looks on the bright side. But I know it gets to her sometimes. What makes you say that? David hesitated. Sometimes I'll find her staring off into space on the balcony, her eyes red like she's been crying. When I ask her what's wrong, she always says it's nothing. My heart clenched. Has she ever mentioned her past? You mean her ex-boyfriend? David glanced at me. She mentions him sometimes. Said she had a boyfriend who was brilliant, but he moved away for school. What did she say about him? She said he was the great love of her youth, but it just wasn't meant to be. I was silent. David continued. The truth is, I know there's someone who will always have a piece of her heart. Even though she's my wife, there's a place in there that I can never touch. And that doesn't bother you. David gave a bitter smile. Of course it bothers me. What man wouldn't want to be the only one in his wife's heart? But Chloe has been so good to me. She's a devoted wife and mother. She would never do anything to betray me. That's enough. But, Ethan, I'll be honest with you. A while back, Chloe told me she ran into an old friend from school. She couldn't sleep that night. She also told me that this friend is very successful now and that he paid for Leo's surgery. I knew right away that the friend she was talking about was her ex-boyfriend. David looked at me, his gaze steady and calm. Ethan, that person is you, isn't it? I didn't deny it. I just nodded. I thought so, David sighed. I could tell from her reaction. David, you don't have to explain anything. I know you still have feelings for Chloe, and I know she still has feelings for you. But she chose me. She chose this family. His words stunned me. I never expected him to see things so clearly. You don't hate me. Hate you for what? For loving my wife? For being more successful than me? David shook his head. None of that matters. What matters is that Chloe is with me now. We have a family. We have a son. But she's not happy. Who says she's not happy? You just said she cries by herself. David looked at me, his expression serious. Ethan, I think you're misunderstanding something. Chloe might feel sad sometimes, but that doesn't mean she's unhappy. People are complicated. It's possible to love different people at the same time. It's possible to be happy and sad at the same time. I don't understand. Chloe loved you. Maybe she still does. But she also loves me. She loves our son, and she loves the life we've built. Those two loves don't have to be in conflict. His words sent me reeling. Ethan, I have a favor to ask. What is it? If you truly love Chloe, then stop disturbing her life. Let her live in peace. But I know you can't let go. But that's just how it is sometimes. What's lost is lost. You can't force it. Just then, David's phone rang. Hello, Chloe? What? Leo has a fever? Okay, I'm on my way home right now. He quickly packed his things. Ethan, I have to go. Leo's running a high fever. I'll go with you. No, that's okay. I appreciate the offer. David stood to leave, then turned back. Ethan, remember what I said. Watching his retreating back, I felt a complex mix of emotions. This man, as ordinary as he seemed, possessed a magnanimity that I had to admire. Maybe Chloe had made the right choice after all. At 11 p.m., my phone rang. It was Chloe. It was the first time she had ever called me. Ethan, I'm so sorry to bother you this late, she said, her voice choked with emotion. It's fine. What's wrong? Leo. His fever spiked to 103. We rushed him to the ER. The doctor thinks it might be an infection and wants to keep him for observation. How is he now? He's stable. The doctor said it's not serious, but I'm so scared. I could hear the raw fear and helplessness in her voice. Chloe, don't worry. Leo's going to be fine. Which hospital are you at? I'll come over. No, Ethan, don't. I just needed to talk to someone. David went down to handle the paperwork, and I'm alone in the room. I'm terrified. Chloe, listen to me. Leo just had major surgery. His body is still recovering. Fevers are normal. If the doctor says it's not serious, you have to trust him. But he's burning up. His little face is so red. It's killing me to see him like this. I could picture her there, sitting by his bedside, tears welling in her eyes. Chloe, you have to be strong. Leo needs you. You can't fall apart. I know, but I'm just so scared. I'm scared of losing him. I'm scared. You won't. Leo is a tough, amazing kid. He's going to be fine. The other end of the line was quiet for a moment, and then I heard a soft sob. Chloe, are you crying? No, I'm not crying, she said, but her voice was thick and nasal. Chloe, do you want me to come over and sit with you? No, Ethan. David will be back any minute. Please don't come. Then just talk to me. I'll stay on the phone with you until he gets back. Okay. After another moment of silence, she spoke. Ethan, sometimes I feel like such a failure as a mother. Why would you say that? Leo has always been sickly, in and out of the hospital since he was a baby. Other kids are so robust, but he's so fragile. That's not your fault. Some kids just have weaker immune systems. But I can't help feeling like I didn't take good enough care of him. If we had more money, if we could afford better food, a better place to live, maybe he wouldn't get sick so often. I heard the unspoken question in her words. Chloe, do you have regrets? Regrets about what? About choosing the life you have now. The line went quiet again. It was a long time before she answered. Ethan, you know what? Sometimes I do wonder what would have happened if we hadn't broken up. What do you think would have happened? Maybe we'd be married by now. Maybe our kids would be healthier. Maybe I wouldn't be stressing out over medical bills. Maybe. Chloe. But none of that matters now, does it? There are no what-ifs in life, only what is. But if you're not happy... Who says I'm not happy? She interrupted. Ethan, even though I miss the past sometimes, I don't regret my life now. Really? David is a good man. He can't give me a life of luxury, but he gives me security. Leo might get sick a lot, but he's the center of my universe. These are the most precious things in my life. And me? I couldn't stop myself from asking, what am I in your life? She was silent for a long time. You are the best memory of my youth. The person I loved most in my life. And my forever regret. Her words made my eyes burn. Chloe. But Ethan, the past is the past. We're not 18 anymore. We can't live in our memories. But I can't let go. Then you have to learn how. Her voice was firm. Ethan, it's really not a good idea for us to have any more contact. Why? Because every time I see you, my resolve weakens. Every time we talk, I get lost in the past. If this continues, it won't be good for anyone. Chloe, David's back, she said suddenly. Ethan, thank you for talking with me. From now on, let's not contact each other again, okay? Chloe, goodbye. She hung up. I sat there, holding my phone, my mind in turmoil. She was right. We shouldn't be in contact. But could I really do it? The next day, I got a text from David. Ethan, Leo's fever broke. The doctor said he could be discharged. Thank you for being there for Chloe last night. She seemed much better today. I replied, that's good to hear. A minute later, another text came through. Ethan, I'd like to meet with you to talk. Do you have some time? I hesitated, then typed. We met at a quiet bar. David looked exhausted, his eyes bloodshot. He clearly hadn't slept. How's Leo? I asked. He's fine now. Kids bounce back faster than adults, he said with a weary smile. That's good. David poured us both a glass of water, then looked at me seriously. Ethan, I want to talk about Chloe. I nodded. After she called you last night? She was in a much better mood. But she also told me that she thinks you two shouldn't have any more contact. Yes, she told me that too. I want to know what you think. I looked at David, this simple, decent man, and felt a wave of complex emotions. I want to respect her choice. But you can't let go, can you? I nodded. David sighed. Ethan, I know this is hard for you. But in situations like this, someone has to make a sacrifice. I understand. Do you? David looked at me. I don't think you do. You think that by bowing out, you're doing what's best for her, but you're wrong. How am I wrong? Your very presence is a form of torture for her. Every time she sees you, she's forced to choose between her past and her present. Every time you talk, she's torn between her feelings and her reason. Do you think that's fair to her? David's words left me speechless. Ethan, I don't hate you. In fact, I'm grateful to you. Grateful. Thank you for saving Leo. And thank you for helping me understand what's in Chloe's heart. David took a sip of water. But now, I need you to truly let her go. What do you mean? Truly let her go? Leave this city. Build your career somewhere else. I stared at him shocked. You're asking me to leave? I'm asking you to leave. David's gaze was unwavering. As long as you are in this city, Chloe will never be at peace. She will always be worried about running into you, always be reminded of the past. But my business is here. With your talent, you can be successful anywhere. I fell silent. David continued. Ethan, if you really love Chloe, give her the gift of a quiet life. Don't let her continue to suffer like this. Is she really suffering that much? Yes, David nodded. She never says it, but I can see it. Ever since she met you again, she can't sleep, she's always distracted, and she cries for no reason. My heart felt like it was being pierced by 1,000 needles. I never wanted to hurt her, I know, but sometimes love itself is a form of pain. David stood up. Ethan, I've said what I needed to say. I hope you'll think about it. He walked to the door, then turned back. And one more thing. If you do decide to leave, please don't tell Chloe. Just let her think you naturally faded out of her life. After David left, I sat alone in the bar, a heavy weight on my soul. He was right. My presence was a constant source of turmoil for Chloe. If I truly loved her, I had to let her live her life in peace. But to leave this city, to leave her behind, could I really do it? I sat there until evening, and finally I made my decision. I called my assistant. Check on the progress of our Chicago expansion project. It's going smoothly, Mr. Carter, but it will require a senior executive to be on-site long-term. Good. Book me a flight for tomorrow morning. You're going to Chicago, sir? Yes, for the foreseeable future. You'll handle things here. After hanging up, I sent one last text message to Chloe. Chloe, I'm so glad Leo is doing better. I have to go out of town for a while on a long-term assignment. I might not be back for a very long time. I hope you and your family find all the happiness in the world. After sending it, I turned off my phone. I didn't want to see her reply. Whether it was a plea to stay or a simple farewell, I couldn't bear to read it. The next morning, I packed my bags and headed for the airport. On the way, I made one last stop, the Lighthouse Cafe. It was the place where I had last seen her, a monument to our beautiful past. I sat at our old table by the window and ordered a coffee. The street outside was the same. The sunlight streamed through the glass onto the table, just as it had 10 years ago. Only the people had changed. I turned my phone on and saw her reply from the night before. Ethan, safe travels. That was it. 4 simple words. No extra sentiment. Maybe it was for the best. A clean break, no loose ends. I was about to leave when I saw her standing outside the cafe's entrance. She didn't come in, just stood there, looking at me. Our eyes met through the glass, and for a long moment, neither of us moved. She was wearing a white trench coat, her hair tied back. She looked lovely, but her eyes were red and swollen, as if she had been crying. I made a move to get up, but she shook her head, signaling for me to stay put. Then, she pulled a piece of paper from her purse and held it up to the glass. On it, she had written, Safe travels. Take care of yourself. Tears blurred my vision. I fumbled for a napkin and a pen and wrote my own message, holding it up for her to see. I will. You be happy. When she read it, a tear escaped and traced a path down her cheek. But she didn't make a sound, just stood there crying silently. We remained like that, separated by a pane of glass, just looking at each other. After what felt like an eternity, she gave me one last, deep look, then turned and walked away. I watched until her silhouette disappeared into the crowd, knowing it was the last time I would ever see her. From now on, we were strangers. I sat for a little while longer, then got up to leave. On my way out, I stopped at the counter. If a woman named Chloe ever comes in here, I told the barista, her coffee is on me. I placed $1,000 on the counter. Sir, this is way too much, the barista said. Not for her, I replied. She's very important. I walked out of the cafe and didn't look back. Some goodbyes. If you look back, you can never finish. On the way to the airport, a text came in from an unknown number. Ethan, thank you for everything you've done for Chloe. She will remember your kindness. I will take good care of her, and Leo, you can rest assured. David. Reading the message, I felt a knot in my stomach. This man had my deepest respect. He knew his wife still had feelings for another man, yet he chose to love her, to be patient with her. Maybe Chloe had made the right choice after all. The plane took off. I watched the city below shrink until it was swallowed by the clouds. My past, my most cherished memories, the woman I loved more than life itself. They were all down there. But from now on, none of it had anything to do with me. It was time for new life, a new love, a new happiness. Goodbye, Chloe. Be happy, be well. That is my final wish for you. In Chicago, I threw myself into my work. Long days at the office, late nights, weekends. I tried to use work to fill the void inside me, to leave no room for memories. My colleagues said I had changed, that I was more driven, but also colder. Mr. Carter, you're going to burn yourself out at this rate. My new assistant, Maya, said with concern. You have to hustle when you're young, I said without looking up from my screen. But I knew it wasn't hustle. It was escape. 3 months into my new life in Chicago, I met her. It was a weekend, and I was on a run through Lincoln Park when I accidentally bumped into a girl who was feeding pigeons. Oh my God, I am so sorry, I said, helping her up. It's okay, she said with a bright laugh, her voice musical. She looked to be in her mid-20s, dressed in simple athletic wear, her hair in a ponytail. She had a fresh, open face. Do you run here often? She asked. Yeah, almost every day. Me too, but I've never seen you before. I just moved to Chicago a few months ago. Oh, well, welcome, she said, extending a hand. I'm Maya Davis. Ethan Carter. Ethan Carter, she mused. Sounds serious. She had a playful energy that was infectious. I found myself smiling. After that, we started running into each other often in the park. Sometimes we'd jog together. Other times we'd just sit by the lake and talk. Maya was an architect, a simple, happy-go-lucky person who radiated positivity. Ethan, why do you always look like you have the weight of the world on your shoulders? She asked me one day. Doi. You do. You'll be smiling, but there's no light in your eyes. She was perceptive. Just stress from work, I guess, I lied. Work is important, but so is your happiness, she said seriously. Life is short. You have to learn to let yourself be happy. You're right. So, will you let me help you find your happiness again? I looked into her sincere, hopeful eyes and felt a warmth I hadn't felt in a long time. Okay. From then on, Maya made it her mission to pull me out of my shell. We went to movies, explored neighborhoods, tried new restaurants, even went to an amusement park. She reintroduced me to all the simple joys I had forgotten. She was like a ray of sunshine, cutting through the gloom that had settled over my life. 6 months later, we were together. We were walking along the Riverwalk one night, the city lights shimmering on the water. Ethan, can I ask you something? Maya said suddenly. Anything. Was there someone before? Someone you loved very much? I froze. Why do you ask? Because I can feel it. There's someone who has a piece of your heart. You're good to me, but I feel like you're not all here sometimes. I looked at her, my heart twisting. This girl was too smart for her own good. Maya, it's okay, she interrupted gently. Everyone has a past. I just want to know if you're willing to try to love me. Her words moved me deeply. Maya, I am. Then that's enough, she smiled. I believe that time can heal anything, and I believe I can make you happy again. That night, we made it official. Life with Maya was genuinely happy. Her bright, optimistic nature slowly chipped away at my melancholy. I still thought of Chloe from time to time, but the sharp pain had dulled to a faint ache. Maybe David was right. Time and distance were the best medicine. A year later, Maya and I got engaged. We held a party at one of the nicest hotels in Chicago. Our friends were all there. The room was filled with laughter and celebration. As I slipped the ring onto Maya's finger, she started to cry. Ethan, thank you for giving me a chance. No, thank you, I said, my voice thick with emotion. Thank you for making me believe in love again. In that moment, I felt like I had finally let go of the past and was ready to embrace the future. But fate, it seems, has a twisted sense of humor. 3 days after our engagement party, I received an unexpected phone call. Am I speaking with Mr. Ethan Carter? Yes, this is he. Sir, this is Dr. Evans from Seattle General Hospital. A patient named Chloe Miller listed you as her emergency contact. My heart stopped. What happened to her? She was in a car accident. She's in the ER right now, and we're trying to stabilize her. Without a second thought, I booked the first flight back to Seattle. When Maya asked what was wrong, I just said an old friend had been in an accident and I needed to go. She didn't press for details. Go, she said. Be safe. The 3-hour flight felt like 3 years. My mind raced. Why would Chloe list me as her emergency contact? Where was David? Where was Leo? I rushed straight from the airport to the hospital's ICU. I found David slumped in a chair outside the doors, holding Leo in his lap. Both of them were crying. David. I ran over. He looked up, his eyes red and swollen. Ethan, what are you doing here? The hospital called me. They said Chloe was in an accident. How is she? She's still in surgery. David's voice was a choked whisper. The doctor said it's not looking good. He told us to prepare for the worst. My knees went weak. How did this happen? She went out to get groceries this morning. A car ran a red light and hit her as she was crossing the street. David broke down, sobbing again. It's all my fault. If I just gotten up and gone with her. Leo was crying in his arms. I want my mommy. I want my mommy. Looking at them, I felt my heart shatter. David, what exactly did the doctor say? Cerebral hemorrhage. Multiple fractures. They're doing a craniotomy right now. The red light above the operating room door was still on. All we could do was wait. Why was I her emergency contact? I asked. David wiped his eyes. My phone was broken. She couldn't get a hold of me. She was still conscious when the paramedics arrived, so she gave them your number. So that was it. It wasn't that she saw me as her most important person. It was just a practical matter. Did she say anything else? David looked at me, hesitating for a moment. She said that if she didn't make it, I had to call you. Why? She said she had something she needed to tell you. The tears I've been holding back finally broke free. We waited outside the operating room for 8 agonizing hours. David's parents arrived, along with a few of Chloe's friends. We all stood vigil, our eyes glued to that red light. Leo cried himself to sleep in David's arms. David, you should get some rest. I'll wait here, I said. I can't leave. What if she wakes up and I'm not here? She's still in surgery. She won't be waking up anytime soon. You're going to collapse if you keep this up. Eventually, his parents managed to convince him to go lie down. I sat alone outside the operating room, staring at the light, my mind a storm of prayers. Chloe, you have to pull through. David and Leo need you. I need you to be okay, even if we can never see each other again. At 10 p.m., the door finally opened. A surgeon emerged, pulling off his mask. Doctor, how is she? I shot to my feet. The surgery was a success. We've removed the hematoma. However, she's not out of the woods yet. We need to monitor her in the ICU for the next 48 hours. When will she wake up? It's hard to say. Could be tomorrow. Could be a week. Hearing that the surgery was successful, a wave of relief washed over me. David rushed back as soon as he heard the news. He was so overwhelmed with joy that he hugged me and cried. Chloe was moved to the ICU. We could only look at her through the glass. She was pale, her head wrapped in bandages, tubes, and wires connected to her body. She looked so fragile, but she was alive. That was all that mattered. When will Mommy wake up? Leo asked. Soon, buddy. She'll wake up soon, David reassured him. Will she forget me when she wakes up? Never. Mommy loves you more than anything. She could never forget you. Watching them, I felt like an intruder. 3 days later, Chloe woke up. The doctors confirmed she was out of critical danger. With proper rest, she could make a full recovery. We were all ecstatic. But when she woke up, something was wrong. She looked at David and Leo with a blank, confused expression, as if they were strangers. Who are you? She asked. The doctor explained that it was likely temporary amnesia caused by the head trauma and that her memory might return over time. But the most shocking part was when she saw me. Her eyes cleared, filled with recognition. Ethan, she whispered my name. I'm here, Chloe. I'm right here. Am I dying? No, you're not. You're saw me. Her eyes cleared, filled with recognition. Ethan, she whispered my name. I'm here, Chloe. I'm right here. Am I dying? No, you're not. You're safe now. Then why am I seeing you? I thought we said we shouldn't see each other again. A sad, ironic laugh escaped me. Chloe, you were in an accident. You're in the hospital. I came to see you. Something seemed to click in her mind, and her gaze sharpened. Where's David? Where's Leo? They're right here. She turned to look at them, but her eyes were still full of a strange detachment. I'm sorry, she said, looking at David. I don't really remember. Tears welled in David's eyes. It's okay, Chloe. Take your time. It'll come back to you. But in the days that followed, her memory of David and Leo did not return. She remembered me. She remembered our entire past together. But the last 6 or 7 years were a complete blur. The doctor said it wasn't unheard of, that it might just take time. David was devastated, but he cared for her with infinite patience, hoping to spark her memory. Chloe, this is our wedding photo, he'd say, showing her his phone. She would look at it and shake her head. I don't remember. And this is Leo, our son. Chloe would look at the little boy with a maternal softness, but she'd still shake her head. I know he's my son, but I can't remember him being a baby. Leo started to cry. Mommy, did you really forget me? Chloe's heart broke. She pulled him into a hug. Sweetie, I'm so sorry. Mommy's brain is a little broken right now, but I still love you. That will never change. Watching this unfold was agonizing. Chloe had lost the last several years of her memory. In her mind, she and I were still the couple from 10 years ago. It was a torturous situation for everyone. After she was discharged, I planned to return to Chicago, but David begged me to stay. Ethan, right now, you're the only one she recognizes. If you leave, it will cause her a lot of distress. But David, it's not appropriate. There's nothing inappropriate about it. I trust you. And besides, maybe having you around will help her remember. So, I stayed, checking into a hotel nearby. I visited Chloe every day. Her physical recovery was quick, but her memory remained stubbornly absent. Ethan, why did we break up? She asked me one day. Because I had to move across the country for school, and we thought the distance would be too much. But you're back now, she said, her eyes hopeful. Can't we start over? Her question was a knife in my heart. Chloe, you have a family now. David is a good man, and Leo needs you. But I don't have feelings for them, she said, confused. I know they're my family, and I want to love them, but my heart is full of you. Chloe, you'll remember. Once you do, you'll know who you truly love. What if I never remember? I had no answer for her. We were trapped in a bizarre limbo. Chloe treated me as the love of her life, while David and Leo, her actual family, were like strangers she was obligated to care for. This went on for a month. David grew more and more despondent. Leo was acting out, constantly crying for his mom. One night, David came to my hotel. Ethan, we need to talk. Okay, I know this situation is torture for you too, he said. Chloe sees you as her lover, but you know she has a family and you can't reciprocate. Yes, I've been thinking, maybe we should tell her the truth. What truth? Tell her that we were divorced, that she's free to choose. I stared at him in disbelief. David, are you insane? I'm not, he said with a bitter smile. Ethan, I can't stand seeing the three of us in this much pain. Instead of being stuck like this, let her make a choice. But you were never divorced. Then we'll get one for real. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Why would you do that? Because I love her, David said, tears glistening in his eyes. I want her to be happy. If she chooses you, I will wish you both the best. If she chooses me, then I'll know there's still hope for us. The man's selflessness was staggering, but I couldn't accept his proposal. David, I can't do that. Leo needs his mother. You need your wife. Do you have a better idea? I fell silent. The next day, I made a decision. I had to leave, for good this time, and I wouldn't tell anyone, not even Chloe. Before I left, I wrote a letter to David and left it at his apartment. David, by the time you read this, I'll be gone. I know this seems cruel, but it's the only way. Chloe will be heartbroken for a while, but time will heal her. She will fall in love with you again. She will become Leo's mom again. Please trust me, and please trust her. Take care of them. That's the only thing I ask of you. Ethan, after writing the letter, I left the city. This time, I didn't just move across the country. I moved my main operations overseas to London, putting an ocean between us. On the plane, I sent a text to Maya. Maya, I'm coming back. Are you still willing to wait for me? Her reply came almost instantly. Of course, you idiot. Reading her words, I finally let myself break down and cry. Chloe, this is truly goodbye. I hope you find your way back to the happiness you deserve. Goodbye, my first love. Goodbye to the most beautiful memory of my youth.